Good afternoon, Michael Malice here. Let that be your welcome for the next hour. We have with us a very special returning guest, Hotep Jesus. But by the way, someone on Twitter was like, "Why don't you have him on again?" I'm like, "Duh." There's so many people I enjoy talking with, and I'm like, "It's been a minute." For those who aren't familiar with the Hotep philosophy, can you give him the Cliff's Notes quick?
Fuck no.
Look, Google it.
Go Google that shit, damn it. You know how many times I told that story? Listen, here's my story. I was a black dude on the internet, and some Jewish guy by the name of Michael Malice invites me on his show. Okay.
Malice.
It was called You're Welcome. It was recorded in some obscure studio in New York City.
Yes.
Okay. He didn't pay for my Uber to get there, my transportation, or hotel. Okay. I'm in New Jersey, so it wasn't that bad. So I go to this studio and he interviews me, and I'm a young buck at the time. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I was very much a novice in this media field. And he gives me my first in-studio interview.
It's true.
I felt so important.
You were.
Was I?
Yes, because you did that whole Starbucks thing. That was really funny.
I did do the Starbucks thing. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
For people who don't know, because we're so old, because you forgot also, you became a thing after you went to Starbucks and demanded free coffee as reparations. And the white chick was like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I love the idea that like, hey, it's okay to have a slave. You just give him some coffee. It's like, yeah, it works out. Here you go. Have two.
We're even now.
Yeah.
Call it even.
Yeah. It's a wrap. Did you hear, by the way, my plan for how to have reparations? Did you hear my plan?
No.
I was just on PragerU discussing this and elsewhere.
Okay.
I did the math. Okay. There are 41.5 million African Americans, according to Google, in America. There's 40 million Canadians. The Canadian people have demonstrated repeatedly through their actions and words that they do not want freedom. Reparations has to mean reparations. It's not here's some coffee. It's not here's a house. It's you have to make that person back to where they started. So every African American can get one Canadian. And slavery in the South, abhorrent. Slavery in the North is the opposite, right? And we can match up the rich people with like Barack Obama's African. He doesn't get anybody. Michelle, she can get like Jordan Peterson. Like Stacey Abrams can get Gad Saad. He can, get that bitch to lose some weight because he did it. How are you going to look like Aunt Jemima, but your blood type's Mrs. Butterworth? What the fuck's going on with that lady? That's my reparations plan. But the Hotep philosophy, which I will.
Well, wait, before we go there, let's talk about your reparations plan.
Yes.
When I first heard it, I fell in love with it.
I fell in love with it. You're not African American, aren't you? Caribbean?
I'm half African American. Means I'm eligible for half of a Canadian.
Okay.
So I'm half and half. All right. I'm a half and half Negro. Okay.
So you get Lauren Chen.
Wow, that would be actually interesting.
Because she's like Chinese born, so it's like half.
There you go. Or
Taiwan, I think, yeah.
Yeah. So at first I enjoyed it, but then I was like, aren't Canadians like half retarded, or is that Polish people?
I know we all look the same to you. That is Polish people. You don't want smart slaves. Those are the ones who have the uprisings. You want them like cows.
That's a good point.
You want them docile, which they are.
You've nailed it. I'm once again in love with your idea.
They want the COVID you and I both know. I said this on Twitter. I'm not even kidding. And I had very little pushback, which I was shocked at. I said, there's a lot of people who want the COVID era back. They want to have all those restrictions. And no one was like, yeah, you're crazy. They're like, yes, it's true. You see it every day.
That's insane. Is that a thing?
Do you disagree?
I haven't seen this.
I think there's a lot of people in the cities who want to go back to that time where they didn't have to think, where they wore masks, where everyone knew their place, where they were hamsters in the cage. They were very happy then because they had an excuse for their neurosis and mental illness. It wasn't their fault. It's because of the evil air.
Oh, I might be one of those people.
What do you mean?
I have a beautiful woman. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you know anything about beautiful women, they always want to do shit, so during COVID, it's like we couldn't go nowhere. So I was like, this is great for me because I'm a homebody. So I might be one of those people. Sit your ass down, bitch. We ain't going nowhere. It's COVID.
You want to kill grandma, do you?
You don't want to kill grandma, bitch. Sit down somewhere,
So, okay. Now, can we go on to the Hotep philosophy?
Now that I've scared 90% of your audience, let's continue.
Oh, no, you can't scare my audience.
Okay, good. Hotep philosophy?
Yes.
We're basically a supremacist group, you know. If you're not Hotep, then it's like basically, you know, screw you, right? We are building a utopia called Hotepistan. The rules and regulations and lifestyle are confidential, but you know, we believe in something that is not quite American. You know, we believe that Americans have too much freedom. So we want to curtail freedom. We want to find a nice balance between totalitarianism and democracy. And that's the utopia of Hotepistan. The Hotep philosophy it's unique. It's somewhere between atheistic, agnostic, and religious, but un-American at the same time. That makes sense.
Well, if I could translate to my audience that you have not succeeded in scaring, a big part of the Hotep ideology is this concept of self-reliance and having strong families and having strong communities that are not subject to the whims of other groups or peoples.
Correct.
And to have this idea of very much entrepreneurial, very much having men be leaders in their households and in the areas where they live, and seeing that a lot of the so-called civil rights movements of the last few decades have had many bad consequences. And I think you guys would say even by design.
Correct.
Okay.
Absolute failure.
Yeah.
Absolute failure. You know, it makes me feel like it was a complete and utter fed up.
Yes.
I would love to, if I had a time machine, I would go back into time and I would curse out every single person involved in the civil rights movement. I would probably strap C4 to the Selma Bridge.
I remember that Daniel Patrick Moynihan, who was a longtime Irishman, he was a longtime senator from New York. I think it was 73. He's like, guys, we are paying black women not to have men in the house. Like, do you not see that this is going to be disastrous for this community? Everyone's like, yeah, whatever. And people don't care. It's just like, it feels good. It's going to get votes. And if other people have to suffer, like, who gives a shit?
Yeah. I mean, if you take a look at BLM, I always thought, I was like, is this what the civil rights movement felt like? That's what the BLM made me reflect on. Is this what it's bit different, right? Because BLM was about Mike and Ike's, right? It was about
right. It was. Yeah,
it wasn't about black people.
During BLM, there was like Trident, and there's like a black lady on the label. I'm like, what the fuck does this have to do with gum?
It was not about black people, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then when we look at the civil rights movement, that wasn't about black people either. That was about white people, right? Because that's who benefited. White women benefited most from civil rights. Gay people benefited most from BLM and civil rights. So we didn't win in any of those situations, which is why it made me feel like, is this because, you know, Thaddeus Russell goes into great detail about the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
And he talks about how, you know, some of the missionaries of the NAACP travel to the South and they try to convince them to be good Negroes and accept the notion that black folks should fight for integration. And the down South was like, man, hell no, we just want representation of our tax dollars. Unfortunately, NAACP said, fuck you. And they come back up north and they push for integration. And here we are with me talking to Michael Malice, a disgruntled black man.
I'm reading Langston Hughes' second autobiography right now.
Okay.
It's called I Wonder as I Wander. His first one's a masterpiece called The Big C. I have a signed copy. Thank you.
Oh, wow.
And he talks about in the 30s, he did a reading tour. And there were all these black colleges throughout the South where they were people who were like, all right, we're going to get educated. We're going to become assets to our community. We're excited about literature. We're excited about poetry. This speaks to us. There was magazines like The Crisis, and I forget the other one, which is even better. I'm blank at the time, which from Core, I believe. And none of that's a thing now. Like this was completely. I mean, historically, black colleges are still around, but this sense of it's no one's coming to help us. So it's important for us to construct things that are like Adidas, by us for us.
Yeah.
And now this is why I want to dovetail with the last election, because I really was excited to hear your thoughts on what happened in November. It seems that for many African-American so-called leaders, their highest goal is to become like pets, where the success of the community is at the behest of like liberal white women. And as soon as they lose interest, you guys are fucked. That seems to me a very, very stupid approach to the future. And then you look at people like, I know Marcus Garvey was a big forerunner of the Hoteps, and Malcolm X. It was like, no, we can't be relying on the whims of another population. The Harlem Renaissance, let's go close with this, in the 20s was called when the Negro was in vogue. And then Langston Hughes later changed to when Harlem was in vogue. The Great Depression hit in 1929. All these people couldn't find jobs. It's like, you were cute. You were kind of this thing of the moment, and now in the trash, just like that. And that's what happens when you don't have your own sense of community and self and are dependent on other people.
Yes. We have much to break down. Oh my gosh. Please. Oh my gosh. All right. The Negro leader. Okay. Negro leader is what I would call an educated dummy. Okay. Yeah. I would call people like me smart dummies. Okay. I'm a smart dummy. He's a educated dummy. Now, why are we both dummies? We're both dummies because there's no way we can understand or know everything that exists in the universe. Right. So at the end of the day, we're all dummies. But he's an educated dummy and I'm a smart dummy. The difference between an educated dummy and a smart dummy is the fact that he's been indoctrinated and I have not. Educated dummy is following core curriculum. I'm creating my own curriculum. An educated dummy is being taught what to think, and I'm teaching myself how to think.
Yep.
The educated dummy has a boss. The smart dummy is a boss. So as we traverse these problems of America, okay, Black community, et cetera, what happens is through these boule connections at the university, whether they be through fraternities, sororities, et cetera, this is basically a pipeline to mainstream success. CNN, NBC, MSNBC, right? And it basically boils down to two categories of Negro, the male and the female. But the male has to be a docile. Sorry, can I say that?
Wait, can I interject? Because
sure.
It is shocking to me that the black man who has been, since he's stepped foot in America, a symbol of strength, often portrayed in negative ways. In 2025, politically, the black men you're supposed to look up to as a Democrat are Barack Obama and Cory Booker. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm not going to say anything else, but come on.
Correct. And that's what the white liberal wants. Right?
Yeah, right.
The white liberal fears a fearless black man, an independent black man, right? Like you were talking about, we should be independent. That's what people should fight for. I think all people should fight for independence, right? So they are looking for docile, feminine Negroes. For example, we had Roland Martin recently. He posted a video with his Texas A&M shirt on. He's got a Texas A&M dry fit Adidas hat, a Texas A&M dry fit Adidas shirt. He's got the shorts and he's got the shoes to match. And a white man comes up to him and says, did you play or are you a fan? And he says, no, I just graduated from there. And he walks away and he thinks this is some sort of passive aggressive, racism that he faced, right? And I'm just saying to myself, what a pussy, right? Like, first of all, you've got the back of a linebacker and you're wearing Adidas dry fit, right? Like, if I saw you, I would think you were an athlete, right? Now, if you wanted to look like you were some sort of collegiate scholar, you'd get one of those, Zach Morris sweaters with Texas A&M on them, and they maybe wouldn't think that, you were an athlete. But if you leave the house in dry fit Texas A&M, you got the hat, the shirt, the shorts, and the shoes to match. First of all, you look like a dweeb, okay? So we should have made fun of you. You should have called to your face because you look like a dweeb. That's first of all. Second of all, if you've got on shorts is literally for athletics.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And you've got Adidas right in the middle. I don't know anybody else that wears Adidas as a fashion statement. Adidas is literally for athletics. And it's broad day right here on his chest. It says Adidas. And I'm thinking to myself, you think you dealt with passive aggressive racism? So now we know he got $300,000+ from the Democratic Party to push their bullshit campaign behind Kamala Harris. They didn't throw $300,000 behind the Hoteps.
Do you know? Can I say something? You know what I think it could be also in his head?
What?
In his head, they're calling him, you must be a jock because you can't be a nerd. That means you're dumb. This is what he probably heard.
That's what he heard. Correct.
That's what he heard, which is completely insane in 2025.
That's
Lots
insane.
of athletes are very smart. No one has this distinction anymore.
Listen, I'd rather be an athlete than smart. How about that?
Yeah, right. It's gonna be a lot easier. Yeah.
Have you seen how much money these guys make?
Right.
Could you please confuse me with Michael Jordan, please? Like, what are we arguing about here?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so, here's the second thing. Why do you care? Like, that's not something a man does, right? A man doesn't go, oh, my feelings are hurt because you thought I wasn't smart. That's not what men do. Right. Like if somebody asked me, they were like, yo, you play football? Like, nah, I'm just rocking this shit because I'm in. And we're going to kick it and we're going to have drinks. We're going to smoke a cigar and it's just going to be that. I'm not going to be offended because he didn't think I wasn't an intellectual. I might not even want him to know I'm an intellectual because I might want to rob him. You know what I'm saying? Like, but let's put things in context here. We are men, right? Anyway. So we got that issue. We got, him representing us, $300,000 taken from the Democratic Party, taken from donors, et cetera, all for a failed campaign for Kamala Harris that they knew was going to fail, that they knew was DOA, that they first of all, they tried to make us believe she was black. Right. Everybody in the black community already said she wasn't black. We knew she wasn't for us. They call her Cop Mala in the black community, but the boulets at the university level will have you think that black people are accepting these people and they're not. And black people are rejecting.
Can I interject? Because this is, I want you to continue where you're going on, because this is the question I had in my mind. Mm-hmm. When I heard this coming down the pipeline, and I coming from Brooklyn, I have enough experience with the black community. I'm like, black men aren't voting for this bitch. If I know black women like her, every black man knows several women like her, and they're going to be really feel humiliated that she's cutting the line instead of them. And they're like, they might not vote for Trump. These hardcore, people vote Democrat all their lives, but they're certainly going to sit in their hands and be like, are you fucking kidding me? No, this is insulting. And I was right.
You're right. Anybody with common sense would know that. Not too many people got common sense. There's only a few people that are intellectual like you and me and like maybe one other person in the world.
Roland Martin.
Roland Martin. Right?
The three of us. That's just the three.
So you got the docile male Negro, right? Borderline gay. Gay, they actually prefer gay, but that's another story for another day. You also have to talk like them. You've got to take the bass out of your voice. Right. And you've got to talk white if you're a black male. It's like this newscaster voice type situation.
Yes.
That's what they prefer, right? They want you to be assimilated. Okay. Now, the black woman, the rules are a bit different. Okay. They want you to be the angry black woman. And that's why they got rid of Joy-Ann Reid. Okay. She failed at being black. She failed to fill the role. They weren't quite sure how to wrangle the Negro at that time. So they were like, you know what, we'll take this, immigrant Negro, have her fill the job. She got experience. We'll use her, and then we'll groom somebody else, and then we'll dump her, and we'll put new people in charge like they just did recently when they dumped her from the network. But they are now realizing, if you look at her replacement, got the bald head lady, looks like Magic Johnson's son.
Wait, there's a replacement already?
There's a replacement ready. They got that replacement ready 30 days after election.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So they got a replacement. It's actually three people. It's actually three minorities. They have a new show. The first show they started was called The Weekend, and then now they have a new show, and that took her time slot. It's a black woman, but she's a black woman, right? Like she's a little ghetto, got a little edge to her. So the black community can actually relate to her. Like can't relate to Joy-Ann Reid because she talks like a white woman. That's not what they want. They want black people that can actually connect with black people. So it's okay to be a little ghetto and be a black woman because that's the stereotype, right? So that's acceptable. So But the only issue is, what are your politics? It's only a certain type of politics that are allowed in the Black community now in mainstream. And those are going to be liberal and Democrat politics. Everybody else going to get blackballed. You kind of got to do your thing, find your own way, be independent, or censor yourself. Shut up. Don't just say like a lot of celebrities do. Oh, I don't talk about politics. Oh, I don't talk about politics. And those are you're gonna find out those are your conservative Black people. The ones that say I don't talk about politics are your conservatives. Those are people that went in the booth when nobody was looking and voted for Donald Trump.
Yeah, and there was a lot of them.
Hey folks, Michael Malice here. You might know me as a Twitter troll, terrible author, insufferable podcaster, but I'm also an underwear model, and the underwear that I model and wear every day is Sheath underwear. If you go to sheathunderwear.com, use promo code Malice, you get 20% off and you can be inside my pants. Why I love Sheath is they have special dual pouch technology for both parts of your male anatomy. It sounds weird. The first time I tried them on, I'm like, what is this? And now I literally wear them every day. The great thing about Sheath, it was developed by an Iraq war veteran. And overseas, it gets really, really hot. And Bobby decided, all right, what can I do to make sure I'm not suffering here in this heat? And thanks to his research, you can be comfortable in the comfort of your own home. It's great for cold weather. It's great for hot weather. It keeps you secure and comfortable. And there's something really exciting about going on a job interview, going on a date, doing a podcast, knowing that your underwear has you in its grip, nice and secure and comfortable. Go to sheathunderwear.com, use promo code Malice. You get 20% off, and you can get one step closer to looking as much like a hunk as myself. Folks, traditional bed sheets can harbor more bacteria than a toilet seat, which can lead to acne, to allergies, to stuffy noses, and it is gross. Miracle Made offers a full line of self-cleaning, eco-friendly bedding such as sheets, pillowcases, and comforters that prevent 99% of bacteria and require 3 times less laundry. They're infused with silver, and that prevents up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, which leaves them staying cleaner and fresher 3 times longer. No more gross odors. And by using these silver-infused fabrics, which were inspired by NASA, the Miracle Made sheets are thermoregulating and designed to keep you at the perfect temperature all night long, so you get better sleep every night. They're very comfortable without the high price tag of other luxury brands. Stop sleeping on bacteria. Miracle Made sheets are designed for your skin. Bacteria can clog your pores. It causes breakouts and acne. Sleep clean with Miracle. Here's all you got to do. Go to trymiracle.com/malice to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo Malice at checkout, you get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you aren't 100% satisfied, full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/malice. Use code Malice to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/malice to treat yourself. Thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode. Let's get back to the show.
It's also kind of funny how, to your point, LGBT issues are least popular in the Black community of all the different communities, and that is never represented anywhere in the corporate press. They will cite polls, but you will never hear a prominent person of color saying things like this who is on the left, because they know if they question it, it's a wrap for them. It's just, there's this pretense that there's this bizarre coalition between like Black Americans, Hispanics, AAPI. I mean, to put a Filipino and an Indian from India and a Chinese person in one group together and pretend it's one thing is something you have to go to college to be that stupid to think of. Mm-hmm. But that's kind of what's presented as fact for the MSNBC audience, and somewhat successfully.
Correct. So, which brings us to Black people as the mule, right? We're the ones that are going to drive things, right? So, for example, again, Thaddeus Russell, Renegade History of the United States of America, he talks about homosexuality and I forget the name of the family, but this guy has a lesbian wife, and he abuses her, and the Italian comes along, beats her husband up, and frees her and basically says, hey, you'll be my girl, but you can be a lesbian all you want. There are people in gay clubs in New York City, and the Italian mob was like, yo, leave these people alone, let them have their rights. So basically what you're having is, you're having an issue where the Anglo-Saxon white man is very oppressive towards all types of groups, including the gay community, right? Now, if you look at the black community, I wouldn't call it homophobic, but we're homophobic, okay? Now, homophobia is a bit different than homophobia in the black community is a bit different than other communities, where it's a joke, but we're not oppressive, right? Like, we know when somebody's gay, but it's never a big thing, right? Like, my mom talks about this lady when she grew up in the 50s who everybody knew was basically a lesbian, but nobody judged her. She was a part of the community like everybody else, right? Like, I've been in Newark, New Jersey, and there's gay men walking around and nobody bothers them. We all sort of just commingle and cooperate, but it's not a big deal. It's not like they're oppressive. So what you're having white men who are gay and want to come out the closet. And in order to come out the closet, they need to make it okay to be gay. Right. And nobody moves culture like black people. So they mobilize black people and say, black people, you're going to make it okay to be gay so I can come out of the closet. And that's why we're seeing what we're seeing. The black community never had a problem with homophobia.
For people who don't know, drag came out of the Black South many, many decades ago. RuPaul's from Atlanta. The movie Paris is Burning took place in Harlem. This was very much a fringe thing where these people everyone knew what they were. They lived on the margins. It was understood. There was no need to come out because you couldn't go back in because these people were not exactly passing. But then, like you said, it had to become something for white people. And then it had to become something, and this is shocking for me, for white women and white mothers. And the idea that you're going to go for something which was start at midnight, because a lot of these people were streetwalkers and that's how they paid their rent or whatever, having these balls. And now it's at the mall and the kids are there. This happened in our lifetime is so psychotic and disturbing. And I'm sure as a dad, this is something that you find mortifying.
Abhorrent. I've taken my kids out of school out of fear of this.
Oh, wow. Tell me about that, please.
My kids have been homeschooled since the end of the pandemic. I want to say we're going on 3 years of homeschooling now. Yeah, 3 years of homeschooling. So 3 reasons why I took them out of school. Let's start with the least important. I wanted them to work on their athletics. Okay. They play sports. So that was probably the least important. But when I saw, so during the pandemic, we were able to see how the school was operating, right? So, I'm in the living room doing my work. They're in the living room doing their work, but they were on Zoom and I can hear the teacher. And I'm listening to what's going on. And I'm like, what? What did she just say? And I'm doing this every single day. And I'm like,
oh, wow.
I'm terrified. Like, yo, you're literally talking like nonsense right now. This is like, history class, social studies, that's my thing. So I'm like, oh my God. Then, there's instances where we're just in the car and, I'll ask them a question about life. And it was just like, they couldn't answer it. Right. So I'm starting to, you start to see that what's important for a child to understand. Is it important for them to learn algebra and calculus and, Mesopotamia? No, it's not. What's important is character, virtue, daily habits, right? And I started to notice when my kids were in school, character, virtue, and daily habits were being affected by other people's households. And my kids weren't my kids. And that was scary to me. It felt like they were breeding enemies in my own house. The first instance I've really noticed this, they were probably around 6, 7 years old. And this is right after Donald Trump won the first election.
Wait, I got to say one thing, because I had a tweet that ties in exactly what you said. I said, don't let people who despise you raise your kids as their own.
Correct.
What do you expect is going to happen?
Correct. Correct. My kids were acting very strange, very rude. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, because you're the dumb ignorant one, and now they know, so they're gonna
right.
put you in your place, you idiot. Right. I
Yeah.
learned this today. Maybe you should read a book sometime. Right. Yeah.
Right. I'm like, yo, nah, this is not gonna work out. Right. So I remember they came home after Trump got elected the first time, and usually they come home, kids are like bouncy and shit. They're fucking acting
Sure.
retarded and shit. They came home today and they like were droopy. Their shoulders were hunched in. They dropped their book bag and walked in. And, sometimes one of them would walk in like that. They're twin
Sure.
boys.
Sure.
So like one maybe had a bad day. The other one had a good day and vice versa.
Sure.
This time they were both down. And I was like, yo, what's wrong with y'all? And they were just like, Trump. Trump. I'm like, were they talking about Trump at your school today? Yeah, they were just complaining, but they couldn't explain it, right? Because they're like first grade. They don't know what they
First
just
grade?
experienced. Just like first grade, dog.
Holy shit. Okay. I assume it was middle school or something. Oh my God.
This was like first, second grade. They were
they're like 6 or 7 or something.
Yeah, they were like 6 or 7 years old.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah. So, Max 8 years old. Because when did he get elected?
2016, November 2016.
Okay, so he got elected November 2016. My boys are born in 2009.
So 7. Oh my God.
Okay, so they're coming home at 7 years old with deep depression for that day based upon how their school felt about their election.
Yeah.
Right? So via osmosis, they have transferred negative energy onto my children. I had to tell the children, look, it's going to be okay. Trump is the man. I had to revive them because they felt their energy felt like it was the end of the world.
Yeah.
So that was like one of the, So pandemic comes around, blah, 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 blah. And at that time, I just, I wasn't really educated on homeschool and how to get it done. And, I was still bouncing forth back between the city. But as soon as I could, I took them right out. But what really drove it was this drag queen story hour. Yep. You show up at the school and it's like, is that a trans flag on the wall? Right. Is that a rainbow flag on the wall? You just in their school like, yo, wait a second. Or you read their homework and they're like, Susie's girlfriend. Susie got a girlfriend? Dog.
That makes me sad. You know what? Can I tell you something? It's really funny that you bring this up because in North Korea, this is how they teach math. Mm-hmm. Okay. They say, if Kim kills 5 American bastards every day for a week, how many will he have killed after 3 weeks? That's literally the math. So if I have 4 Jap devils in my house and I slaughter 3 of them, how many are left? That's how they teach math. So to have that exact same propaganda here, I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but I'm still upset. I'm sorry. Now I'm upset. No, I am upset because until 5 minutes ago, I thought everyone agreed on is you leave the kids alone. Like that's the thing I thought we all agreed on. We're adults. We can fight. You have your views. I have mine. I'll hear you out. Maybe our voices get heated. Maybe we don't talk again. But you keep the kids as sweet and innocent and happy as possible. You make and I know how naive this sounds to say it out loud, but I'm still saying it. Like you want them to create an environment where they're excited to learn. It's tough. No one wants to go to school, but you can make it so like maybe they like learning about dinosaurs. Maybe this one's good at math. This one's good at art, whatever it is. So I don't think it was this bad when we were kids.
No.
I don't think it was.
It was different, but it was a different type of propaganda. It was more like, Arabs are terrorists.
But it wasn't this 24/7.
It wasn't 24/7. It was not. It was more from the media. I felt like in school.
Yes, it was right.
It wasn't as radicalized in school.
And and pervasive.
Yeah. My school was liberal though here in New Jersey because I remember them saying, during World War II, they used to call Japanese people Japs, and you're not allowed to call them that. Okay. It's a bad word. I remember that. It was like, maybe I was going to a pretty liberal school, but it's true, right? Like it was a derogatory term, whatever. Yeah. But I'm just like, why does that matter? Like,
how many Japanese people in your school?
Like 2, right? Right. Like, okay, lady. So so I had to after I saw all of that stuff and I saw the behavior and I was like, let me take them out of school. So they've been out of school, I want to say 3 years, going on 3 years now. And it's been absolutely remarkable, extreme turnaround in their
Yeah. Oh,
behavior.
yeah.
They're very mature. We don't get sick as a household anymore.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Right. Think about, yeah, of course.
That's a big plus.
Yeah.
Because the kids come home with germs, right? So we're a healthier household. I haven't been sick this year, y'all.
Self-assured.
Self-assured.
That's a big one.
Yeah, a lot of confidence.
Excited to learn, intellectually curious.
Yeah. And I've taken the curriculum and flipped it on its head, right? So in school, they tell you what to learn. In homeschooling, I ask them what they want to learn.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the way memory works based upon interest. If you're not interested in the subject, you're not going to remember.
Right.
So, I'm like, what do you guys want to learn about? And he's like, oh, I want to learn about Japanese history.
Great.
And then, okay, cool. We're going to learn about Japanese history. Let's grab this book. We'll read from Tokugawa Empire to modern times. And we read about that. And they're like asking all these questions. They're super interested in retaining
and it's
information.
exciting for you because you're learning too.
And I'm learning too, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's the other thing, like with the homeschooling thing, it's like you should be learning with the child so you guys can like have these conversations. So, yeah. So, we dive into that and then there's no testing. I don't test them for shit. You know what I mean? I test them sporadically, like we're in the car, like, character questions about achieving power. What if you're in this situation? What do you do? Like those type of questions. And
what type of Canadian do you want to own?
Right. What qualities would you like in your slave? You know what I'm saying? But how they answer these questions will tell you what vocabulary words they're picking up.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you start hear them articulate themselves. And I remember my dad called me last week and he was like, I was talking to your son today and he has this crazy vocabulary. And I'm like, he's grown to like sounding intelligent.
It's not crazy. This is the norm. We make them crazy. Folks, you might not know this, but I have over 300 plant species in my house. I had to bring in one of my trees over the winter, one of them from Madagascar. And I'm a big fan of fastgrowingtrees.com. They're the biggest online nursery in the US. They've got thousands of different plants, over 2 million happy customers. They have all the plants your yard needs, fruit trees, privacy trees, flowering trees, shrubs, so much more. Whatever plants you're interested in, Fast Growing Trees has you covered so you can find the perfect fit for your climate and space. And Fast Growing Trees makes it easy to get your dream yard. Order online, get your plants delivered directly to your door in just a few days without ever leaving home. I like the sound of that. Their Alive and Thrive guarantee ensures your plants arrive happy and healthy. Plus, you can get support from trained plant experts on call to help you plan your landscape, choose the right plants, and learn how to care for them. Having plants in your house and outside is really a fun thing. You can watch them grow. It's just exciting. And a lot of them are really easy to take care of, and the website will help you out navigating that situation. The other thing I really like about them is the selection. Yeah, you go to those box stores, but I'm telling you, they've got cool stuff in there at the same price so that you'll be able to stand out from your neighbors and they'll be all jealous, as mine are, and I can't really blame them. This spring, they have the best deals for your yard, up to half off on select plants and other deals. And listeners to our show get 15% off their first purchase when using the code WELCOME at checkout. That's an additional 15% off at fastgrowingtrees.com using code WELCOME at checkout, or just go to fastgrowingtrees.com/welcome. It's that easy. Now's the perfect time to plant. Spring's here. Use code WELCOME to save today. Offer valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions may apply. Guys, if you're a gold owner, you already know about all the ways precious metals can hedge against financial instability. Clients all over the world have been taking advantage of their gold and silver leases to put their metals to work and grow their total ounces over time. And that's where Monetary Metals comes in, because with Monetary Metals, you can earn up to 4% in their leasing program immediately upon funding your account. Higher yields are available to accredited investors in their bond offerings. The interest you earn is paid in ounces of physical gold or silver, which you get in addition to any price appreciation from gold and silver during the year. Question is this: why earn in dollars when you can earn in gold? As Hotep points out during this week's episode, gold just hit an all-time high. It's a great way to hedge against inflation and has been that case for literally thousands of years. Now's the time. Secure your wealth, build your legacy in an asset that the government cannot inflate away. Don't let the Fed be in control of your finances. Go to monetary-metals.com/malice today. That's monetary-metals.com/malice. let's get back to the show. There's few things that make me like this angry where I feel stupid, but I remember coming from Brooklyn, homeschooling wasn't a thing, right? And then the first time I met some homeschooling kids, and I tell the story as much as I can because it's so important to me. They were bright, looked you in the eye. They weren't scared of adults. They were excited to show you what they knew. They were polite, but also interested in life. And I remember being a kid like that. And I'm like, holy shit, this is the norm. And this is what schooling destroys. It makes learning something you dread because you have to do it correctly. You have to do it at the same pace as everybody else, which makes no sense because you're going to be better at math. Maybe I'm better at literature. Who knows? Point being, like, why we're both getting screwed at some point. And when you see that that's how it is, you're like, holy shit, what is being done to all these kids, these innocent, sweet kids who could all have the potential to grow up to be something and to be assets to their community and strong. In America, the argument is strong, independent people who think for themselves, who don't back down to anything. And that is possible. And the biggest impediment to that, in my opinion, is government schooling.
Government schooling is the worst. It's absolutely dreadful.
It's horrifying.
It's dreadful. It's dreadful. And my kids are excited about learning now. You know, we came home the other day from doing something, and they were in the house arguing about, you know, who finished their math test faster.
Yeah.
Because they, you know, do math on some app or some shit like that, right? And they're like, no, I beat you by, 0.2 seconds, and you didn't know the fraction of this and that. And I'm just like, I like it.
Yes.
And I didn't tell them to do the math.
Right.
They chose to compete in the math.
Right.
So it's not about, and that's why I was telling my dad, because my parents were scared when I first said it. They're like, are they going to be behind? I'm like, if you give it time. My philosophy was, I don't want my children to learn. I want my children to learn to love learning.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you can foster the attitude of wanting and loving to learn, you ain't got to teach them.
Right.
They'll teach themselves. You notice that the most successful people in the world are autodidacts.
I see this all the time on Twitter in a very, very dialed down version. I'll put a post or something and someone be like, ask a question. And I always say, unfortunately, there's no way to find out. Because something you could, and it shows me this is the kind of person who needs everything spoon-fed, who would never think for a second like I would or you would. Let me Google this. Let me go down this little rabbit hole. Oh, this is, but no, like, and you don't know I'm going to reply. Why are you doing this? I'm not Google. But they don't think like that. They need everything told to them instead of they don't trust their own sense of independent judgment. Jimmy Dore had this great bit about how during COVID, somehow the media made learning to read a sign of stupidity. It's like, you're doing your own research? Hey, folks, we got ourselves a reader here. Hey, boy, this ain't one of these reading households. You're in the wrong neighborhood, son. But that's what happened. We were told this. Do not do your own research. Sit down and shut up and obey. The fuck?
Listen to your authority figures.
Yes.
They know better than you. Don't you dare read.
Right.
Yeah. Those are scary times. Those are scary times.
You must look at your kids sometimes and see this parallel universe where you didn't pull them out of school and be like, holy shit, I dodged a fucking bullet.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like those people who had those tickets for 9/11 but slept in, and they look at that fucking, like, that brochure or whatever, that voucher, and they're like, holy shit. Yeah.
I was one of those people.
Is that true?
I was supposed to be at 9/11. I was supposed to be at 9/11, dog.
What, you got a fight with Muhammad?
Listen, I had a job interview back in those days. I was doing IT. I just got certified by Microsoft. So, I had a job that was when I commute through the World Trade Center at roughly 9-something a.m. Okay.
Fuck.
I get to the job interview, and the job interview goes fantastic, but they make you take this computer class, a computer test, and they monitor you on the test, right? And it asked me a question, very basic question, and I drew a blank. The answer to the question was, it was like, how do you check and see if two computers are communicating with each other? And it was a 4-letter word. And I was like, I couldn't think of it. And the answer was ping. So I didn't get the job. A week later, 9/11 happens.
Oh, wow.
I was like, yo, thank God I didn't get that job. I'd be dead.
Holy fuck! I heard
It'd be no
that's not
Hotep
how.
movement.
Wait. We talked to us off air, and you told me you got a call from Tel Aviv not to go into the building that day. Is that not true? That's what I heard. That's what my Mossad people told me. They said, we called up Brian. We go, Brian, we like you. You got hair like us. Don't come in.
You weren't supposed to say that out loud. It's bad enough I got Jake Shields on my ass now.
Is Jake Shields coming after you?
Nah.
Okay.
He's coming after you.
So I'm not too scared. Wow. Yeah. So you see your kids, you're like, holy crap. Like, if I didn't do this, what would they become?
Yeah. My biggest adversaries were my family, though. Like their mother. It's fear of the unknown, right?
Sure.
If everybody is used to doing things a certain way, and you decide to deviate, and they've never seen that before, they're like, "Yo, what's that like?" It's fear of the unknown. So I knew everybody was going to be fearful, but now everybody's like, "Oh, this was the best idea you ever made, and this is great." But I've always been that person who watched everybody like go in a certain direction, and I'm like, what's over here though?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't even feel right. It doesn't. I'm very intuitive. Sometimes like it's a lot of logic involved, but sometimes a little bit of intuition that leads to my logic questioning things.
So I've got a big question for you, because most people in our families will just double down. They will never admit they were wrong. If they had a script since they were kids, they will stick to that script. What made them acknowledge you were right and they were wrong, that this was the right choice?
They haven't.
Oh, okay.
They haven't.
Okay.
They probably won't do that. It's just I catch them.
Okay.
Sometimes, saying things like, "Oh, I'm glad we did this. I'm glad we did that."
Oh, yeah.
That are sort of extensions of the decision.
I'm glad we did this. Yeah.
Exactly. But I did catch my dad post-pandemic. Unfortunately, my parents did get the vaccine, right? So
okay.
My dad calls me up one day and he's like, several months back, your mother had some heart issues. She didn't want me to tell you. Yeah. He didn't want me, she didn't want me to tell you, whatever, right? Yeah, had a scare. So he says to me on the phone, he says, "I regret taking the vaccine."
Oh, wow. That's a big one.
He said it. And, I don't know how or why he came to that conclusion. I don't even want to know, I don't think. But he did say that to me.
Yeah. It couldn't have been casual. It's not because he's watching your live streams.
Right.
Something had to have precipitated this for someone, especially someone older, to be like, okay.
Yeah.
Oof.
And I was, and they know me. Like I'm the rebel of the house. I'm the rebel of the family. I've always done my own thing. And when it came,
what do you guys call it? Do you guys call it a white sheep?
My dad's nickname for me was, I said this to somebody else the other day, the prodigal son.
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah.
That was my name my whole life.
Yeah.
The prodigal son. My new name now is Money.
Oh.
What's up, Money? So I'm happy now. Now I'm happy. I'm like, okay, I'm no longer the prodigal son. This is good news.
Wait, hold on. The point of the prodigal son had money. That was the whole point.
But his father gave it to him.
Yeah, but he had it.
True, but he had his daddy's money.
Sure.
He came home broke, right?
Yes, correct.
Like daddy would give him money and he'd come home broke, right? That was me, I would always have to call my parents like, "Oh, Dad, I'm a little behind on bills. Can I borrow $100? You know what I'm saying? It was always that situation where I couldn't quite take care of myself, which is their fault, by the way.
Of course.
I'm serious.
Why is it their fault?
It's how you raise your kids.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
Right? Like if you raise your kids to never have to fend for themselves, how do they learn how to fend for themselves?
Okay, that's fair.
Right? Like I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I didn't have to do anything. I got everything I wanted.
This is like when my mom chipped in when I got my nose straightened because it was her fault. I'm serious. That literally happened. It's her bump. Now it's not there. And she paid. This is your genes. And her name's Gene too. So there we go.
But my point is, like, I was a terrible student.
Okay, yeah.
Terrible student. But I still got what I wanted.
Right.
That's not how you raise your kids.
Right.
Your kids got to earn the pleasures of life.
Yeah.
Right? So that's how I am with my kids. They don't get Christmas presents from me. They don't get birthday presents from me. People
what
like,
do they get? Nothing?
From me? I don't
Yeah.
give them shit.
Really?
I don't get my kids shit, Michael.
Oh.
And I tell them, I ain't getting you shit for your birthday. I paid for your soccer classes. That shit cost me $6,000 between uniforms and all of that shit. Did you buy that shit, little? I'm a mean fucking dad because I know what type of children it makes. And the last thing I want is my kids to grow up in this world and think somebody's going to do something for them. Nobody's going to save you in this world.
But if they're dressed in soccer clothes, everyone's going to think they're dumb because they're athletes. So they can't be smart. What have you done for your poor boys? People think they're dumb jocks now.
You're a dumb jock.
You got to be. You got cleats on. You can't even read.
Here we go. Full circle. But here's the issue. Their grandparents spoil them.
Yeah. Okay.
Their mother spoils them. So there's actually nothing left for me to do. So I'm not going to add to it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
not really.
Not really.
I understand, but I don't know.
It's difficult, right? Like for example, I would have never bought them a phone.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Those things are evil.
Yes. And you can't watch what they're and it gives them these algorithms. They end up in Elsa Gate. No. You're right.
Right.
I'm with you. Yes.
Who bought them the phone?
Grandma
and grandpa.
Yeah.
The baby. The baby was 2 years old when she got her first iPad.
No. Are you joking?
Michael, my parents bought the baby an iPad. And I said to them, do you hate your grandchildren? Do you want to destroy them? They don't understand. But the reason they do it is so they can call the baby and say hi when they want to. Right? So it's not all bad intentions. It's a little bit selfish as well. So I'd hide the iPad. The baby hasn't had the iPad in years.
Okay. I think it's probably outdated at this point.
It's outdated.
Give this kid this iPad from 2005. It only has Mozilla.
Right. I hid it. I took it from the baby and I hid it because I don't want my children attached to these devices. Right?
I don't think babies are good at finding things. They're not very mobile.
Facts.
You just got to put on a table. You're fine.
She's 4 years old. Right.
Okay.
But if you let her have the phone.
Oh, yeah. Forget it.
Right. And you take it from her. Now she's losing her mind.
Yeah.
I didn't give her the phone.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I'm always the parent in the household saying, no, you got to earn what you want in this life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a great thing to teach kids.
Yeah. So I do it at a very harsh level. On your birthday, I want you to grow up and remember your dad didn't buy you anything on your birthday. I want you to grow up and know.
Maybe they can earn a card.
Yeah, maybe you can earn a card. Right.
Card.
Yeah.
Is that so much to ask from dad?
one card. And they got to share that one card, right? But these are the extremities that I go to because I love my children that much.
Okay.
And it hurts me. It hurts me to know I didn't get them anything.
Okay.
So this year I actually did get them something for Christmas.
There it is. What'd you get them?
So I get, huh?
Stick of gum. Here you go. Don't chew it in one place.
I gave my one son, he does film. So I gave him these headphones. They're hand-me-downs. I didn't buy them. I gave him the hand-me-downs. Here, you can have this.
That's a pretty good gift.
It's a really good gift.
Yes.
And then the other one I gave him, he loves my keyboard.
Okay.
I have this cordless gaming keyboard. So I gave him my keyboard, and he's fucking in love with it.
That's a great gift.
Yeah, it's like a expensive ass $350 keyboard, and I'm like, but you got to give me your cheap keyboard. So we swap keyboards, and he has my expensive one, and I have his cheap one. So
it's like playing Final Fantasy when you upgrade swords.
Yes, exactly. So I'm not completely Stalin, but
Stalin gave kids gifts so that they would love him instead of the family.
Really?
They do that in Cuba right now. The kids put their heads down. Well, maybe they stopped in the last few years. They put their heads down and they say, pray to either, I think it's Jesus or Santa for a gift. Nothing happens. They go say, pray to Castro, and they give them all candy. And they go, see? This is what they do. Oh, yeah. They want you to love Castro or Stalin or whoever's in charge instead of your parents. And if push comes to shove, you put a dime and call the cops on mom or dad because they don't understand you like the government does. These totalitarian countries are so much more perverse than, well, we see it now in California. If you are having gender issues, you tell your teacher, and we're not going to tell your parents. You trust the teacher, don't trust mom and dad. How is that not satanic? I don't know.
That's scary. I'm gonna have to do that with my daughter. I'm gonna get a portrait and be like, bow to my portrait if you want. If you want gifts.
Put on the wall. You just to polish it every day.
You want gifts? You want to go to the toy store? Bow.
Do you want a used keyboard?
Bow in my presence.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's horrifying. Guys, a lot of you are entrepreneurial, have small businesses, large businesses, medium businesses. There's a lot of things that go into it. But the one thing that's always going to be a pain in the ass is HR. And there's so many nuances, it's not even worth mentioning unless you're using Bamboo HR. They sent me a promo. What I really liked about it is everything is easy to navigate, no headache, it's intuitive. So even if you have I don't want to say this, let's say it, boomers working for you, they're going to be able to navigate it super easily, super simple. Everything is exactly where it should be on the screen, and you can navigate in between them. So it's a flexible and powerful all-in-one HR solution for your growing business. Over 34,000 companies trust it already, and it prides itself on its ease of use because it's easy to learn and easy to implement and easy to love. Take a couple of minutes, check out the free demo, see how nimble and affordable this valuable tool can be. HR is hard, but Bamboo HR is easy. So reclaim your time, do what they did. Check out the free demo at bamboohr.com/free demo. You can see for yourself all that Bamboo HR can do and how truly affordable it can be. And here's the thing. It's not just that HR takes time. It's that it's an emotional suck. It's just frustrating and annoying and something you don't want to be thinking about. And that's where they can help you come in. bamboohr.com/free demo. bamboohr.com/free demo. You're welcome. Let's get back to the show. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts, which I'm sure mirror my own, as to Trump beginning a couple months of Trump's presidency. I've said this point on several shows, and I'll say it to you as well. When I was on Rogan, we were talking about Biden being replaced by a body double. I think this is Trump's body double because this is not the same person who was president in 2016 through 2017 to 2021. I do not recognize this man, and that is not a complaint.
Why don't you recognize him? What is it about him?
The fact that he's getting shit done, the fact that he's staffing his White House with someone made that joke. He drained the swamp by staffing it. He's hiring great people he's also not giving a fuck about kowtowing. He knows they're going to hate him regardless. The stuff that's happening with Doge is just superb. He's like, enough time for talk. We're getting results.
Yeah. I think he's had some time to reflect.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So it's a bit of a blessing that he didn't win the second.
Yes. Well,
election.
he did win. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Stop the steal. But yeah, it's a bit of a blessing that, he didn't win that because it gave him 4 years to sort of reflect and revamp and strategize. Right. So you're right. We're seeing a very different, more confident Trump, if that's even possible, right?
Right? How's that right? It's not like the man was shy.
Yeah. He seems more up to the task.
Yes.
Right. More experienced. At first, I wasn't impressed.
Okay.
I wasn't impressed. I wasn't impressed until the tariffs.
Okay.
Everything else to me was symbology. Like, the Gulf of America, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
You know, official language. Oh, yeah, whatever. Like let's get down to the business.
Yeah. Of course.
But you know me, I'm a student, not an expert. I want to be clear. I'm a student of finance and economics. That's like my passion to like study and try and learn because I don't know anything about it, right? So when the tariffs came down, I started, digging into, some of the historical precedents, like from World War I, World War II, what tariffs did. I was diving into the soul quickly. I was looking at that stuff, right? And then I saw like what could potentially happen. And I'm like, wait, he can turn this recession around with tariffs? I'm like, oh, wow, this is pretty interesting. So we're going to have some short-term hurt with long-term growth. So now I'm like, oh, snap. So for example, we look and the prices of things have gone down.
Yes. Gasoline and eggs being two prominent examples. They were all laughing about eggs a few weeks ago after he was like in the office for like a month, and now they're down already.
Yeah. I mean, prices are so low, I might be able to afford to buy a politician this year.
or a new keyboard for your kid.
Or a keyboard for my kid, right? Like this is amazing. So I'm looking at the economic moves that he's making, and we see Honda's about to build in Kentucky or Tennessee, one of those two. We know that they're building an AI plant out there in Arizona, I believe. So we're forcing, Hong Kong, the Japanese, et cetera, to build. So here's a good thing, right? Like I'm a computer nerd and I always want to upgrade my equipment. We're about to start making the semiconductors here in America.
Right.
Do you know, like the iPhone might not cost $1,000 anymore? Like we'll be able to get our video cards, our soundboard, like all of our computer equipment. Because I had my computer equipment, had my computer built a few years back, and I had to wait to get certain parts for my computer.
Yeah.
It was a backlog. So now, like we're having this stuff manufactured here, it's gonna lower prices of computers and get stuff, to consumers faster. So I like what's happening from the Trump administration. Prices are coming down, and it gives us I say this is a wealth creation period. Okay. The Great Depression was a wealth creation period. Okay. Because if you can buy low.
Yeah, right. Yes.
And wait for the boom.
Yeah.
You're going to be wealthy. Okay. So this dip that we saw in the markets, if everybody can DCA, hopefully you've got some cash lying around, DCA through this period. Allegedly, we're supposed to have next year 10 years of just great economy. And that follows the trend. Like if you ever read Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham, I believe his name is, there's certain like 10-year trends, right? So we've had
wait, can I say one thing? People forget, right before COVID, the economy under Trump was insane.
Right.
And he was a shoo-in for re-election because everyone's like, people are just going to vote their pocketbook. This guy can't be beat.
Right.
And then COVID, and then he let Fauci in and all that other stuff. Yeah.
So that was
2020, the beginning of 2020.
18. COVID hits 2019.
Wasn't it the beginning of 2020? Nope. Was the end of 2019?
Nope. It was the end of 2019, but the announcement came in 2020.
Yeah. Okay.
February or March.
Right.
But COVID hit.
Sure.
Late 2019, but officially 2020.
Yeah.
Yes. So the stock market took a tank in 2020. So if we follow somewhere near like a 10-year, maybe 8 to 10-year trend, that means next year we should, or the year after, I'm hoping next year, we should see some economic boom. So we're going to take a little bit of recession. We're going to take a little bit of a hit this year. We're going to have maybe negative GDP. But then next year, I'm hoping, man, it's just going to be moondog.
It makes perfect sense for a very simple reason. Businesses prefer to invest in business-friendly environments. If I'm going to put up my shingle and I know that I'm not going to have to go through some kind of environmental bullshit, there's not going to be some new regulation, and they're not going to wait to destroy me as soon as I become successful, now's the time for me to invest and grow. It's very simple business logic.
Yes. So, when I talk about this stuff, I don't want to give, people bad news, gloom and doom. I always want to find the light at the end of the tunnel.
Sure.
So, for all the viewers and listeners, we can hang in there throughout this year. Don't jump out the window on some, Great Depression type shit. Hang in there, relax,
Right.
and
don't listen to the corporate press, because they want him to fail, and they want to say, I told you so. And they want to take every little thing and hockey stick it. So if there's like 2 months where it's bad, they're going to, well, look, if it keeps up this way for another 10 years, we're all going to be dead. That's true, but it's not, it doesn't mean it's going to.
I caught an error in the media the other day.
Oh, that's not possible.
In financial media.
Okay.
Right.
What was the error?
Financial Times said inflation was down.
Okay.
CBS, I want to say. CBS said inflation was up.
Okay.
By 2.8%.
Okay.
And I'm like, wait. Is the CPI 2.8%, or did inflation go up 2.8%?
Right.
Those are two completely different statements. But it said inflation up by 2.8%. And I'm like, this headline's wrong. And then I screenshot it, I put on my timeline, and people said those two things say the same thing. Then one individual asked Grok, and Grok said, no, that second headline's misleading.
Oh, wow.
Grok actually said the second headline's misleading. It's actually a lie, because how can it go up by 2.8% compared to what?
Right.
If it's compared to the previous one, that means it would have to be 0% inflation, if we never had 0% inflation.
Right.
Except during deflationary periods, right? So I caught the error. And that's because they're, like you said, you can't trust the corporate press, because they'll look for anything or any way to make Trump look bad. And it was just very odd, because the headline was semi-correct, but it was misleading with two letters, BY, inflation down by 2.8%. No. Inflation up by 2.8%. Yeah. No, inflation has moved to 2.8%. And last period, I think it was at 3.0. So it actually went down 2 basis points. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. I often say the corporate press is factual but untruthful, but that's not an example. They're not even being factual.
Correct.
Folks, head over to malice.locals.com, where Hotep took questions from the fans. Hotep, we're running out of time. What has been your favorite part of this interview?
Talking about my kids. I love my kids. That's probably my favorite part. Yeah. Letting people know about homeschooling. Don't be afraid. Just snatch your kids out, man. And let the kids tell you what they like. Let the kids tell you what they're interested in, and dive into the studies with them. But yeah, that's probably my favorite part. Homeschooling, near and dear to my heart.
Amen. You are welcome.
For weeks now, New Jersey residents have been plagued by unexplained drones flying overhead.
Is there intelligent alien life? And if so, has the government been covering it up?
All right, UFO sightings the military can't explain. Congressional hearings, Pentagon whistleblower. What does it all mean?
What does it all mean? We are here to try and figure it all out with our new Ancient Aliens podcast. There is a doorway in the universe. Beyond it is the promise of truth. It demands we question everything we have ever been taught. The evidence is all around us. The future is right before our eyes. We are not alone. We have never been alone. Listen to the Ancient Aliens podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts.
Are you looking for your next case? Pluto TV has all your favorite crime dramas streaming for free.
You're gonna need some backup.
Which means suspense is free.
Very cool.
Watch CSI New York, Criminal Minds, Blue Bloods, Tracker, FBI, and SWAT all for free.
You can't outrun this.
Someone's gonna pay for all this crime. But it's not gonna be you.
Take care of business, fellas.
Watch all the cases, all for free, from all your favorite devices.
We got you.
Feel the free. Pluto TV. Stream now. Pay never.